Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here this morning. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And we are here to answer your questions today. This is the third volume of ICE Answers Your Questions. So if you're on Clubhouse this morning, or you're online on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, you can type in your questions. And so we're going to be able to answer those questions. Anything about how to pay off debt, mortgages, student loans, credit cards. Listen, if you have debt that's hanging around like a household pet, and no matter what you do, it just continues to stay there, you want to understand how all of it works. Did you realize that we have been dealing with this thing since 1936, how loans are amortized in this country, and no one has been teaching it or helping us to understand what is going on here? Well, listen, listen, somebody says, yo, ICE, and they're watching this on YouTube. All right, let's see. That's Bayheart Media. All right, Bayheart Media. All right, let's say good morning. Well, listen, let's start out with a good morning. All right, let's get warmed up here with a good morning. Let me get this cord out of my way. And good morning to all. Good morning. There we are. Boom. And then we'll put it on the chat in Clubhouse too. Good morning. All right, just tell us, listen, everybody, tell us where you're from. Tell us where you are from this morning. And I think I have a question already. Oh boy. So listen, here's the first question of the day. And this is from Bayheart Media on YouTube. It says, so I heard about how you can transfer it from one credit card to another, and I help pay off another credit. Is that true? Yeah, you can do that, but it's not advisable because you can lose track of it. All right. Brother AJ says Grand Rising on this fabulous Friday. I wouldn't try to do that. See, what they're doing is transferring debt from one credit card to like a 0% credit card. All right. And then you'll get in the habit of, just continue to make minimum payments because now you're not paying any interest. But if you don't have a plan, that's could end up getting you in an endless cycle of doing that, getting more credit cards. Now, the more credit cards you get, then it doesn't actually begin to help you long term in building a viable credit profile. I'm not talking about a credit score. I'm talking about a credit profile. And how many cards you have, how much potential credit you have out there. If you have too much in one area, it could hurt your ability to get credit in the future. So you want to watch that. So what you really need is how to pay less interest on the debt you have. How to pay less interest on the debt that you have. All right. Jackie Wood says, good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, Jackie. Oh, listen, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Listen, so let me put something on the screen. Okay. I'm going to share something on the screen about credit cards since we're here. All right. All right. Brother AJ wants to know, is this a good strategy? Okay. Brother AJ says, I saw a YouTube on velocity banking, all right, transferring expenses on a credit card and paying off expenses from a credit until the card is paid off. Yeah, velocity banking. All right, we'll talk about that as well. So we're going to combine the two answers. So let me go ahead and put something on the screen here about velocity banking and using credit cards, using what they call debt weapons to pay off other debt. All right. So if you're in here on Clubhouse and you want to see what we're doing, go to YouTube and you can see what we're talking about. So let me pull this up. All right. We're going to slide this over here and bring up Brett Whistle, BRETWHISSEL.net, Brett Whistle. And we're going to talk about credit cards and velocity banking just to start off this morning. Okay. That's where we are. So let us share this screen. All right. Share screen and the entire screen. And there we go. All right, folks. We're going to put that on the screen this morning. And let's see here. We just need to go to, there we go. We're going to go to this. There we are. And we're going to add this to the, there we go. There it is. So let me go ahead and add this camera to the picture as well. All right. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some, we're going to go over this credit card thing. All right. Brother AJ says, thank you for answering my question, Don. Don, it was great speaking to you. Listen, Brother AJ, I really do love sharing our information to people, whether it's on the phone or live or whatever it is. We got some new people in here on Clubhouse as well. Go to YouTube so you can see what we're putting on the screen. So if you're in Clubhouse this morning, all right, you're in Clubhouse this morning, you want to see what's happening and you want to see how we could answer your questions, go ahead and head on over to YouTube so you can see. So right now, I'm going to put a $10,000 credit card on here. We're going to put it at 27%. Now, when you're putting this in an amortization schedule, remember it's not 360. Credit cards are amortized over 240 months. That's the amortization schedule they use, 240 months. All right. So now we've got a credit card on here. All right. So when we take a look at this, the very first month you pay interest on this is $225. Let me talk to you about how to attack this thing in a way that is actually going to do you some good. So what they're talking about is transferring something like this over to a credit card, number one, that has a 0% interest rate. Okay, 0% interest rate. And what you want to do is pay that off. You want to increase your payment so that because see, all of your money goes to principal at that point. When you're not being charged interest, all of your money goes to principal. Here's the problem with this strategy if you have other debt, okay? You just transfer this debt to where it costs you nothing and you're focused here. But if you have other debt, let's say a mortgage, all right? So we're going to put that on the screen as well, all right? Open a new tab. Let's say you have a mortgage of $200,000, okay? $200,000 at 6%. All right, so now you're going to be looking at this. I've got this credit card, all right? And I just learned about this idea that if I get this transferred over to a 0% card, then I can pay this off and not pay any interest over here. Now, the very first interest payment, if you were to look at this thing at 27%, the first interest payment is $225. Okay, so now you transfer that over to a 0% card. Now you're not paying any interest on it. And so the idea is before this 12 months runs out, you want to pay off this $10,000 so that all of your money goes to principal. But here's the thing. While you're trying to kill a debt where the first interest payment is $225, but it starts to go down from there. The more you put towards principal, the less interest they can actually charge you. So while you're trying to pay this off at 0%, your mortgage At $200,000 at 6%, they're charging you $1,000 interest, then $999 interest, then $998. You see, if we get focused on the interest rate, we're then not focused on the interest cost. Folks, this is an age-old trick. Focus on interest rate, and then you won't see my interest cost on your mortgage. I'm going to teach you how to hate credit card interest. That's what's going on here. Everybody hates credit card interest. I'm talking to people all the time that say, I'm so concerned about the credit card interest. Can I show you something here? And I know I've shown it before. All right. Start sharing this with everybody. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, you're on LinkedIn, share this out. If you're on Clubhouse this morning, let's go ahead and share this out into the hallway. All right. On Clubhouse, so we can get more people in here so they can see how is it that we get bamboozled on this thing. All right. So Anthony, I see you're in here on Clubhouse. Why don't you have a red ticket? You probably want to cash that red ticket in. Go to up top to P.I.L.L method. And when you see that, go ahead and click that and then join the waiting list. And then we'll make you a permanent member of the house. I'm also going to pin my link to the top, ice10k.com. All right, ice10k.com. We're going to put that link at the top of the page so people can find us easy. All right. So here's what we're talking about. So I've got a credit card here with $10,000 on it. It was at 27%. I'm transferring it over to a 0% card, but then everybody's focused on that. If you have other debt and you don't know how much interest you're paying on that debt, then trying to pay this off early could be a huge mistake. Not a small mistake, but a huge mistake. And here's what I mean by that. Look at this. Look at this. If I were to pay this off at 0%, so I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this tab, change the interest to 0%. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm trying to change. So I'm going to dump as much money as I can so I can pay this thing off while it's at 0%. So I don't pay any interest on the credit card. But at the same time, I'm totally ignoring my mortgage where I'm paying $1,000 a month, $999 a month, $998 a month. The credit card interest rate keeps us up at night, but the mortgage interest cost does not. Does that make sense to you? I need to hear from you. Put it in the chat. Does it make sense that the credit card interest rate can keep us up at night and we don't know how much interest it is, but the mortgage interest cost does not? So does that make sense to you? Yes or no? Put a yes or no in the chat right now if that makes sense to you. Yes or no. All right? Yes or no? Go ahead, put it in the chat. So listen, we need to understand that interest cost is what we need to be paying attention to, not just interest rate. So if we were to, do you see cumulative principal here? I'm going to make this quick and easy, and I may go back and explain it a little bit later, especially if I get some questions here. Okay. So here's where we need to see cumulative principal. The $10,000 I'm trying to pay off over here. If I were to put that $10,000 on this mortgage, if I put this $10,000 on this mortgage, do you realize I knock off 45 payments on the mortgage? That's over 3.5 years I knock off on the mortgage. So here I got a credit card at $10,000 at 0%. And everybody's looking at that, say, I got to knock that out. I got to knock that out in 12 months, or they're going to start charging me big time interest. Folks, it makes no sense to do that. If I've got debt that's charging me $0, It's time to put my money where it's going to do me the most good. And if I put it on this mortgage, it's going to knock off 3.5 years, over 3.5 years for me, and save me $43,000 in interest. Can you imagine that? Listen, let's go over this one more time, because somebody talked about transferring a credit cards to 0% cards, 0% cards, 0% cards. All right. And then that could get you into an endless loop. Plus, it could mess up your credit profile. I'm not talking about your credit score. It could mess up your credit profile by having too much of one kind of debt. Plus, every time you get a new card, it's a new inquiry. All right. And so it could affect your ability to get credit in the future. So now, instead of doing that, let's focus on how we can kill all of this interest by understanding how an amortization schedule works. How you doing, Daryl? I see Aaron in here this morning. I've got some folks here on watching us online. So why is it that we've got bamboozled on focusing here on the interest rate instead of the interest cost? Because I need you to think about this. The next time you focus in, somebody says, you think about your interest rate on your credit cards, find out how much interest that actually is. And so if you're trying to pay off this card and then they're telling you, if you don't pay this card off on time, now you have to pay all the accrued interest for that year. And then we get nervous, we get scared, because nobody wants to pay all the accrued interest for a year. But how much interest is that in dollars and cents? The answer is you don't know. But you're trying to avoid that interest by going ahead and paying this off. But in the same year, let's say we started this mortgage at the same time. All right. In 1 year, while you're trying to pay off a $10,000 credit card, you're only paying this mortgage down. It's a $200,000 mortgage at 6%. You're only paying it down by $2,456 and a penny. If you're new to the room, go to YouTube so you can see this. Pull up a different device, a laptop, or your second phone, or a tablet, whatever you need. You need to see this. Seeing the numbers makes it real. So while we're trying to pay off that credit card and avoid $200 interest payments, we only pay this mortgage down by $2,456 and a penny, and it costs us $12,000 in interest to do that. I'm paying $12,000 in interest over here, trying to pay off a $10,000 credit card so I don't pay any interest over there. Folks, does that make sense? Does it make sense to you? And this is what we need to focus on. Let me show you how easy it is not to pay interest. On payment number 1 on this mortgage, I'm going to pay this loan down by $199.10, and $1,000 goes to interest. When I pay my $199.10 on a $200,000 mortgage, I'm left with $199,800.90 on line 1 of the amortization schedule. The bank uses this number to tell me how much interest I'm going to pay on line 2. There it is. So if I prepay the $200.10, now here's what I'm talking about. If I have a $10,000 credit card and I got it at 0% interest, I put $200 on the credit card, but it's charging me no interest. That money is free to me at that time. The money is free. Why would I put extra money there when $200.10 extra on this principal on this mortgage saves me $999 in interest on my mortgage? Folks, does this make sense to you? All right. So if I make a payment here on my mortgage, and I give the bank the next three principal payments, that's the $200.10, the 201.10, and the 202.10. That saves me nearly $3,000 in interest. And all I've given them is an extra $603.30 on this mortgage. An extra $603.30 saves me nearly $3,000 interest on the mortgage. But I'm so focused on this credit card over here trying to pay off $10,000. So I hope this has been made clear. Do I have any other questions about transferring money over to credit cards at 0% interest if I have other debt? If I have other debt that could be costing me more in interest cost per month, that's going to be a huge mistake. It's not a small one, a huge one. Do I have any other questions about this before I move on to velocity banking? All right. So, brother AJ, you're on YouTube, all right, and you see something on velocity banking, and I'm telling you, velocity banking does work. So here's the strategy on velocity banking. Okay, we're going to use a low interest cost loan. It doesn't matter what the interest rate is, as long as the interest cost is low. Let me give you an example of this. Okay, you borrow, let's say, brother AJ, you can borrow $10,000 from me. Okay, and I'm just going to charge you a flat fee. I'm just going to charge you a flat fee on the $10,000. You borrow $10,000 from me. Okay, and I say, brother AJ, I want you to pay me a flat 10% on that. That's $1,000. Okay, pay me $1,000 on that. All right, and so you take the $10,000 that I lend you. All right, and you put it on this mortgage. And if you do that, it's going to knock off 45 payments and save you about $43,000 in interest. So you get to use the $10,000 that you borrowed from me, or borrowed from your credit card, or borrowed from your line of credit, and you put it on another loan, even if it's at a higher interest rate, and you put it on this loan. Then once you figure out what the interest cost is, what is the interest cost, brother AJ? $1,000. What is the benefit of using the $10,000 and putting it on the mortgage? $43,000 in interest savings and knocking off 43 mortgage payments. So here's my question. Would you pay $1,000 to me to use my money to put on your mortgage and save $43,000 and knock off 43,000 and knock off over like 44 payments you never have to make? Is that a pretty good deal or not? What do you think, brother AJ? But here's the thing with velocity banking. In all the videos you see, they never tell you how much interest you're actually saving with each move. The overall concept works, but it is not optimized. What do you mean by optimization? Optimization means that I want to know exactly in my situation, what is the least amount of money to pay towards the debt, to prepay towards the debt, so that I can eliminate the maximum amount of interest per dollar applied. Okay. I don't want to do the most money. I want to do the least amount of money. Can I tell you a little story about one of my clients who is making a lot of money now, and they have $260,000 left on their mortgage. Okay, $260,000 left on their mortgage. They're making more money now than they did when they first came on my program. They found out by plugging everything in to the opportunity cost calculator. All right. And if you want to see a video on that, just go to YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, and then my YouTube channel, the P.I.L.L. Method YouTube channel, and then search P.I.L.L. Method opportunity cost calculator. There's a 23-minute video on it. All right. So he's putting this information into the opportunity cost calculator, and it's coming back to him saying, you're now going to be able to pay off that mortgage now in 3.5 years. And it's going to cost you about $16,000 in interest. See, our program tells you how much interest you have left to pay. Not only how much interest you're saving, but how much interest you have left to pay. Okay. So he was feeling really good about that. So when he gave me a call and told me this is how he's using the program now, he was shocked to hear me say, you're paying off your loans, you're paying off your mortgage too fast, and you're not paying enough interest. He says, I thought that was the idea. Well, here's what we need to do. I said, tell the program you're making $2,000 a month less. So we took $2,000 a month out of his budget. Program recalculated and then said, you're going to be out of debt in 6.5 years now instead of 3.5. You're going to pay $20,000 in interest instead of $16,000. And he said, how is that better? How is that better? Okay. So I said, well, yeah, it's taking you longer and you're paying more interest, but tell me, why do you want to pay off this mortgage in 3.5 years? Do you really want to pay it off in 3.5 years? He says, yes. I said, well, what would you have to do to pay it off in 3.5 years? He said, I'd have to put that $2,000 back in my budget. Okay. So what, for 3.5 years? He says, yes. So that's 36 months, is 3 years, plus another 6 months, that's the half a year. That's 42 months. 42 months. Let me put this on the screen so you can see it. Okay. I'm putting it on the screen so you can see it. 42 months times $2,000 a month, putting it back into debt reduction. Okay. Okay. 42 months times $2,000 equals $84,000. So over that 3.5 year period, you're going to put $84,000 into debt reduction, and you're going to bring your interest cost that you have left to pay. You're going to bring that interest cost from $20,000 down to $16,000. So in other words, $84,000 at this point is only going to save you an additional $4,000 in interest. Do you want to spend your money like that? What do you think he said, Brother AJ? Do you want to spend your money like that, where you're going to put $84,000 into debt reduction, but you're only going to save an additional $4,000 in interest? He said, no, I don't want to do that. So he's beginning to violate the law of diminished return. So if I'm totally focused on using these debt weapons to put a certain amount of money, I'm going to take some money off a credit card. And there's several different ways to do it. You take money off a credit card or a line of credit and put it on this mortgage over here. The concept will save you time and save you interest. But how much time and how much interest each time you do it? If you don't know the answer to that, how do you know what is the right amount to optimize to get you the biggest bang for your buck? All right, so Brother AJ says here, okay, there is one video that shows how the interest decreases, but not the interest saved. Well, that's why you're doing anything, all right? So we think the idea, Brother AJ, is to pay off the debt. We want to pay off this debt as fast as we can. So let me ask you this. If all of your debt, and I need to hear from everybody, whether they're in Clubhouse or online this morning, okay? Whether they're in Clubhouse or online. If all of your debt was 0% interest, is there any financial benefit to paying the loans off early? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Is there, Virginia's listen, thumbs down. Virginia says thumbs down. All right. Thank you, Virginia. Listen, if you have 0% interest, there's no benefit to paying that loan off early. So the reason why we pay loans off early is to save interest. But if I'm not paying attention to the interest, then why am I paying the loan off early? So I can feel good about the fact that it's paid off? Brother AJ says no. All right. Virginia says no. So if I gotta listen, you gotta pay attention to how much interest you're saving, because that's what is important. Now, here's my next question. Jackie Wood says no. All right. So if you, boy, oh boy, oh boy. If you're going to pay off, do you want to pay off some interest, or do you want to pay off the most interest you possibly can? Do you want to pay off just some interest and be okay with that? Or do you want to pay off the maximum amount of interest that's mathematically possible for you with the least amount of your funds involved? That's called optimization. Okay, so let me give you an example here. Hello, doctor. I say, and I have somebody who wants to raise their hand and come up to the stage here on Clubhouse. Let's bring them up. You may have a question. All right. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello, Mr. Nigga. Nigga. Mr. Nigga. Hello, nigga. You black of sun, bitch.
All right, let's go. Let's move you back. All right. So let's get out of here. How about that? Ladies and gentlemen, so here's what we're talking about. All right. What we want you to know is you can save a ton of interest if you know exactly what to do and when to do it. Okay. You can save a ton of interest if you know exactly what to do and when to do it. Watch this. Watch this. I'm going to show you what happens on this amortization schedule. If you want to see this, everybody, go to YouTube right now where you can see what's going on. All right. You can see what's going on. So I've got $2,456 and a penny here that we could pay off in 1 year on this mortgage, or in 24 months, I got $5,063.50. Okay. You all know what happens when you prepay. If I can take a look at this, my cumulative principal in 1 year, here's my question. Do I have to pay this $2,456 in 12 monthly installments? Because all the principal added up is $2,456 and a penny. So that's over 12 months. But do I have to pay that in 12 monthly installments? Or if I had it, could I pay it in one installment? Could I prepay that money? If I prepay it, guess what? Guess what happens when I prepay it? I knock off 12 mortgage payments that I never have to pay. Look at that. I knock off 12 mortgage payments all at one time. Or if I have plenty of money in the bank, what if I have plenty of money in the bank? Watch this. I could do $5,063.50 and knock off 24 payments. So if I had plenty of money in the bank, which one should I choose? Line 12 or line 24? And if you are in Clubhouse right now and you want to see this example, go to YouTube so you can see what's going on here now. And if you have a question, come to the stage. Raise your hand, come to the stage. All right. So does anybody have a guess here? Which one is better? Prepaying the $2,456.01 or the $5,000 and knocking off 24 payments and saving about $23,000, or the 12 payments, $2,456, and saving about $12,000? You tell me. Let me take a look here. All right. Virginia says trolls on Clubhouse are rampant. You got that right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, all right. Line 24. Brother AJ says line 24. Okay. So let's take a look at that. So here's what we're seeing. We can figure out mathematically, you can figure out how much interest you're saving. When we're talking about velocity banking, they're not talking about how much interest you're saving. They're talking about how fast you can pay off the debt. Okay. That's number one. Number two, they're not talking about how much interest you're saving, but with the P.I.L.L method, we go even deeper. All right. With the P.I.L.L method, we go even deeper and figure out how much interest we're saving per dollar. Per dollar. That matters. Okay. So I'm going to put in here. All right. Let's put in 11, 9, 33, 19, and divide it by the 2,456 that we're going to prepay. So we're going to divide that by 2,456.01 equals 4.858. That's $4.86 per dollar. $4.86 per dollar is saved when we look at line 12. But if we look at line 24, all right, where we're talking about 23,714. So let's take a look at that. So I'm going to write that down, folks. You need to write that down. We're saving now $4.86 per dollar. That's pretty good. Okay. That's a pretty good return on your money. Okay. That's actually a 485% return on your money. 485% return on your money. But if I take a look at line 24, okay, the 23,000, let's put that in. Let's clear it out. 23,714, okay, 0.9, and we're going to divide it by $5,063.50 equals 4.68. 4.68. So we have $4.86 one way that we're saving in interest. And then on the next one, we're saving $4.68. So you tell me, folks, if I can save $4.86 per dollar applied, should I ever accept saving $4.68 per dollar? It matters how much you pay and when you pay it. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, we make bigger mistakes than this. I'm talking where it comes up to thousands of dollars extra interest paid because we are not focused on the interest cost. We're totally looking at the wrong thing. We're looking at the principle. We're looking at how fast we can do it, but we're not looking at how cheaply we can do it. When I pay my money, I want to get the biggest bang for my buck. Right now, my car, our second car, is in the shop for routine maintenance. Okay. That's the oil change and the tires rotated. Okay. So that my car now is at Brian's Tire and Service here in Huntsville. So just to show you what we're talking about. So because I'm interested in saving money. So let me go ahead and let's get Brian's Tire on my service guy. Actually, his name is Don as well. All right. So let me bring up Brian's Tire and give them a call. All right. Brian's Tire. And just, this is okay. Oh, it's ringing.
Brian Tire Service.
Good morning. Is Don available?
Yeah, hold on just a minute.
Thank you.
It's Don, happy.
Good morning, Don. This is Don Daniel. How are you, sir?
Hey, Don. How you doing, buddy?
Doing fine. Listen, I got you on speakerphone. You're actually on my show this morning. I'm doing a live show. And we're talking about saving money. And my car is, did my wife bring the car in yet?
I haven't seen her yet.
All right.
I haven't been out in the parking lot, though.
All right. She's going to bring the car down. Okay. And we're going to get the routine. We're going to get that routine maintenance done. Get the oil change and the tires rotated.
Okay.
All right. But you're going to be looking at other stuff on the car as well, aren't you?
We'll check it over good for you.
All right. And then but if there's anything else that needs to be done, you're going to let me know, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then, and because I do business with you a lot, then I get some discounts, don't I? If I need some other work done.
You do. You get 5% total off everything you do.
I love
changes on your Ryan's Buddy program.
There you go. I love getting discounts. So I just wanted to show people that it's important to try to save money wherever you can. And Don, listen, thank you so very much. She's going to drop the car off. And the friend is going to pick her up. Yep.
Okay, I'll take care of her, sir.
Thank you very much, Don. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, bye-bye. So that's Don at Brian's Tire and Service, ladies and gentlemen. And because I do so much business with them, I get 5% off of everything I need if I need to pay for it. Right now, I pay a blanket thing where I don't have to pay for each individual oil change or tire rotation. Okay, so I give them a lump sum of money. Lasts me for about 5 years. I don't pay for any oil changes individually because it would cost me a ton. So now I'm trying to save as much money as I can on my car service. And if anything else happens, I get 5% off of that. So if I'm going to work, if I'm going to work that hard just to save money on my car service, why would I want to pay extra money to the bank? Only because I don't understand how an amortization schedule works. Okay, so I hope that answers your question on doing multiple credit card, transferring that money to 0% interest cards, and then I rush to pay the card off while I'm paying big time interest on other loans. All right, and velocity banking, where I don't know exactly how much interest I'm saving. And here's the thing, folks, you can't optimize what you can't measure. And velocity banking doesn't help us to measure how much interest we're paying, how much money I should prepay, or how much money I shouldn't prepay, because you have to know how much money to put in and when to stop putting money in where it stops doing you some good. Who's going to do all of that math? Okay, that's what we're talking about. Do I have any other? So, Brother AJ, I hope that answers your question today. Does anybody else have a question for me today? This is ICE Answers Questions today, answers your financial questions. So come up to the stage. If you're on Clubhouse, raise your hand, come up to the stage, ask a question, or type it in the chat. Okay, type it in the chat. It says, oh my goodness, I had my microphone off. I am so sorry, everybody. I had my microphone off on Clubhouse. All right. So are you back? All right. Good. So you are muted. Thank you for letting me know. All right, everybody. Do you have a question? Come up to the stage if you have a question or a comment. Come up to the stage if you have a question or a comment here in Clubhouse, or you can type it in the chat. All right. And let me see here, or on YouTube or Facebook. So Brother AJ writes in here, he says, I need to know which card to focus on first and what is the cost of the interest. That is correct. You need to know what is the cost of the interest, which one to focus on first. And then it says, example, $3,800 limit. I owe $3,079 at 27% interest. All right. So yeah, but But in isolation, brother AJ, I can't tell you anything about that. I don't know what other debt that you have. Okay. It can get very complicated. All right. Let me put something else on the screen for you. Let me show you what I mean. All right. So I'm going to put 5 and then an exclamation point. Okay. 5 exclamation point means 5 factorial. 5 factorial means 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. When you do that math, 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, that's 120 different ways to look at it. That's 120 different permutations, or how you can exactly 5 factorial. So when you do that, it says if I have 5 cards to consider, there are 120 different ways to pay those off. Only one of those ways is optimum. All right. So when we take a look at how much money we have available and how to attack these 5 credit cards, that's 120 different ways to look at it. Which one is the right way, brother AJ? Which one is the right way out of 120? Do you know how long it would take to try to figure that out? All right. So not only that, but if you even chose the most expensive card, should we focus in on, now get this, everybody, get this. If we pick the most expensive card, should we focus in on that one card until we pay it to zero? You tell me. Should we focus, if I have 5 different credit cards to focus on, I'm trying to figure out in what sequence should I pay these off in? I have 120 different ways, and I'm trying to figure out the right sequence. So what if we pick the most expensive one and start there? All right. All the experts would agree on that. So we start there and start paying that down. Should we pay it off until we pay it to zero before we move on to the next card? So what do you say, everybody? Should we focus in on that one card, pay it to zero before we focus on the next card and start paying off them the next most expensive card? All right. What do you guys say? What should we do? Any takers? Any takers on that? Well, let me give you my thought on that. All right. When we start paying on something that's more expensive, look at this. I want to show you something here. On an amortization schedule, when you have an amortization schedule, watch this. The interest cost goes down every single month. It gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. All right. Pretty soon, even though this one started out at $1,000 interest per month, if we scroll down a few months, now I'm at $680 in interest cost. I keep scrolling. Oh, shoot. Now I'm at $310. I keep scrolling. Now I'm at $135 in interest and $124, and I can get down to $97 in interest. So here's my question. If you have a debt, this is my problem with the debt snowball. If you have a debt, even if you choose the one that's the most expensive, should you pay it off to zero before you move to the next one? Or should you pay it down until another debt is more expensive than the one you started on? Does that make sense? What if I pay this one down to the point where my next one is more expensive than the one I started on? Should I continue to pay the cheaper one down, or should I move to the one that's more expensive now and start paying that one down? You see, when you deal with the debt snowball theory says, go ahead and pay this one off, and then you can switch over to the next one. And then when you pay that one off, then you could take that money and then snowball it into this next one. And while you're doing that, you're still paying more interest than you need to, because even if you choose the one that's the most expensive, pretty soon it won't be. So Brother AJ says, I say pay it down until the utilization is down to like 40%. Has nothing to do with the utilization if you're looking at saving interest, brother AJ. What you're talking about is improving your credit score. Credit score means nothing to me either. I like credit profile. Look up the difference between credit score and credit profile, and you're going to see that having a strong credit profile is going to matter more than a credit score. Do you know if you don't have the right credit profile, and you could have an 800 credit score without the right credit profile and still get denied credit? Yeah. Because your credit profile is not made up of the right amount of the type of debt that you need and in the right percentages, and maybe you haven't been in debt long enough. You haven't your time of paying back debt is not sufficient enough. So it is possible to have a great credit profile with a 650 credit score and get all the credit you need, because your credit profile is what matters. So brother AJ says, got another question here. How do we save interest? Is quite frustrating. Okay. So here's how we do it. All right. Here's how we do it, brother AJ. First of all, you can go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com. All right. When you go to ice10k.com, you can click on the button that says get a savings and earnings report. Get a savings and earnings report at ice10k.com. All right. So let me go ahead and put that on the screen. All right. So we want to get a savings and earnings report. Boom, right there. All right. So when you go to ice10k.com, so we have a cloud-based computing platform that does all of this work. All right. So it does factorial math. It says we're going to look at how much debt you have, how many accounts that you have, and how much money you have to work with. And so we're going to figure out when to attack the debt and how much money you need to pay at any given point. How much money to move, what month to move it in, what day of the month to move it on, and which loan to attack, and when to stop attacking that loan and when to start attacking another one. All right. This is all in the AI system. It is so much to try to figure out. That's just with 5. That's just with 5 debts. Watch this. Look what happens. Look what happens when we look at how much. Okay, wait a second here. I want to get off of this one and go back. All right. Watch what happens when we look at factorial math. Okay. We're looking at factorial math, and we're going to take out the 5. Did you know the average client, the average family has 13 different debts? We're just going to do 10 factorial. 10 factorial is 3,628,800 different ways to pay off 10 different debts. Which one is the right way? Now we have 3,628,800 different ways to figure out which way to go and how to do all of this. That is a lot. That is a lot. So why not get a computer, an AI system that does all the work for you? Go to ice10k.com, ICE, that stands for Interest Cancellation Expert, ICE, the number 10, the letter K.com, and click on the button that says Get a Savings and Earnings Report. Once you click on that button, fill out the information. And one piece of information that we're going to need is your cell phone number, because we need to verify that you are a real person. So once you put your phone number in, make sure you don't have any spaces. We're supplying the +1. So when you put your phone number in, make sure you put your phone number up right up against that 1. So there's no spaces, no dots, no dashes. So when you put your phone number in and click when you click on that, you're going to click confirm right here. You're going to click confirm. And when you click on confirm, guess what happens? We're going to send you a code as a text message. Take the code, put it back into the space provided, and then confirm that code. And then the program will let you proceed because now your phone number has been confirmed. All right. Once you confirm that, then click on this last thing. It says, yes, I want to save. And then we'll let you into our financial program. Put in all of your information that we ask for, and then we can tell you the month, day, and year you'll be debt free and how much interest you can save. It's not complicated at all when you have a program that is written that can immediately tell you in a few seconds, look at 3,628,800 different ways in a matter of 2 or 3 seconds and says, this is the thing to do. This is what to do. All right. So Eric Toombs has something to say to us. Says Eric says based on Eric Toombs says based on what you taught us, we should focus on the card that saves us the most interest. Yes, right, until it doesn't. Focus on the one that saves you the most interest until it doesn't, and then switch to something else. All right. And brother AJ says, how do I get my savings and earnings report in a PDF format? Okay. All right. So here is, since you asked, let's bring up a savings and earnings report. Let's show what it looks like. But, if you go to our website, we'll actually show you what a PDF looks like on our savings and earnings report. So let me bring up one for you and we'll answer that question. All right. So he wants to see a PDF. So let's bring it up. All right. Let me see here. We got a savings report here. All right. And I got a commercial example of a savings report here. We got that. We got that. And let me see if I can find some other examples of a savings earnings report. There we go. All right. And let me see here. Let me see if I can find another one. All right. Here's one. All right. I got 4. Let me bring those up and then I'll slide it over so you guys can see. All right. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So we got that. All right. We've got that one and that one. And that one. Okay, so here's what it looks like. All right, let me bring that over to this screen and we're going to show you what it looks like. All right. All right, so we're going to bring that back. So Kurt is on vacation, so I've got to push all the buttons, everybody. So this is why it's taken us a minute to switch screens. There we go. All right, here's a PDF of a savings and earnings report. Here's one where we have a total of $123,000 in debt. All right, and we take a look at how much interest the bank wants on this $123,000 in debt and how long it wants us to pay out. So they want $45,000 in interest, $45,000 in interest on this debt. All right, and then they want this family to pay this debt over 21.8 years. 21.8 years. Or when you do it the P.I.L.L method way, you can go from $45,000 in interest payments to $12,826. Do you know what interest rate you would have to have? Okay. Do you know what interest rate you would have to do that? Let me bring this up. Let me make it just a little bit bigger. All right. All right, bring this up. Uh-oh. Somehow I'm on the wrong screen. All right, so there we go. And bring this up a little bigger. There we go. Look at this. You would have to have an interest rate of 0.67% from the banks to pay $12,826. This is what we call the effective interest rate, everybody. The effective interest rate is 0.67%. Instead of giving the bank $45,000 in interest, we're going to give them $12,826. That's a 72% interest reduction and an interest savings of $32,249. All right, that's what a savings and earnings report looks like. Now, that's the savings part. What's the earnings part? When we take a look at the 17.7 years we're saving this family, if they were to take that money they were putting into this debt and put it in some sort of investment vehicle that only paid 1% interest return on their money, only 1% return on their money, over the next 17.7 years, they could take that money and turn it into $67,039. Amazing. 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 Let's take a look at another one. Here's one. This is one for $2 million. All right. This is one for $2 million. All right. Here's how much interest the bank wants on a $2 million loan. $1,123,195. And we're going to get this commercial loan down to $231,000 in interest. Not take 21.9 years to pay it off, but pay it off in 4.9 years. That's an interest savings of 79%. We go from $1,123,195 to $231,468. You would have to have an interest rate again of 0.67%. That's less than 1%, ladies and gentlemen. That's your effective interest rate. Wow. Saving 79% of that interest, that's a total of $891,726. And taking 17 years again, because we're going to pay it off in 21.9. That was the original, but with the P.I.L.L method, this investor can pay this off in 4.9 if he chose to, saving 17 years. Taking that money that he was going to pay in extra interest on this loan and put it into some sort of investment, can take that money and turn it into $9,314,909. And that's just a 1% return on his money. Savings and earnings report, everybody. Savings and earnings report. Okay. So let's see. I've got another example here. I'll do one more. All right. Oh, I love this. I love this one. Let's do this one. This one is a $200,000 mortgage at 18%. Oh, this is an investor who got a mortgage at 18% because they needed to use hard money to get into this thing. All right. They didn't have a great credit profile, so they use hard money at 18%. You're saying, how in the world can they use an 18% mortgage and still make money? Well, it's not about the interest rate, folks. Remember, it's about the interest cost. So this is a multifamily property where they're bringing in $6,000 a month on this multifamily property, $6,000 a month. The interest, the principal and interest on this loan, the monthly payment is $3,014.18. So if you're bringing in $6,000, but your mortgage payment is $3,014.18, that's nearly $3,000 a month cash flow. Pretty good. What do you guys think? Pretty good cash flow? $3,000 a month. So does the 18% really matter when you're figuring out the cash flow here? Okay. So don't look at the rate. Don't look at the interest rate. Look at the cash flow. Look at how much money you're actually making or spending and see what you can do about it. So this particular investor says, I'm going to take $2,000 of my almost $3,000, and I want to invest it in other properties. So that, but this $985.82, he's putting it into a reserve fund for repairs and maintenance. And he's building that reserve fund up to about, $10 or $15,000 or so. So when he does that, we're going to show him how to sustainably use this, his $15,000 or so, and tell him exactly how much to borrow out of that. All right. Put on this debt at strategic times during the year. All right. And when he puts those lump sums on the debt, then he doesn't do anything until he pays himself back at $985 a month, pays it back, and then hits the loan again. He can actually pay this loan off doing that system in about 7.8 years. Goes from $884,000 in interest that the bank wants over 30 years down to $172,000. That means he's taking that 18% loan and treating it as if it were an interest rate of 4.67%. I don't care what the interest rate is. We don't care what the interest rate is at the P.I.L.L method. What we care about is what is going to be the interest cost overall, and how do I look at the new interest cost? Instead of looking at it as 18%, I get to look at it as 4.67%, saving 81% of the interest that the bank wanted. That's $712,000, and turn that into $1,190,000 for this investor when we do this thing right. Listen, folks, this is what I'm saying. So, Brother AJ, I hope I hope you remember getting one of these. All right. If you actually put that information in for us. Are there any other questions? Listen, folks, this is the time to ask your questions. Asking questions and get answers. Ask your questions and get answers today. So if you're in Clubhouse, you can actually raise your hand and come to the stage and ask your question, and we'll have a little conversation. All right. Or you can put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. So anybody got anything else they want to ask today? Because I'm only going to be here as long as there are questions. This is question and answer Friday. And we're taking the rest of the month off. So on Sunday, there's going to be a replay. On Sunday, there will be a replay. It says, I didn't get a savings report. I have searched my emails. I'll call your office. Great, Brother AJ. Let's get your savings and earnings report. Let me put the office number in the comment section. It is 256-886-1867. There you go. 256-886-1867. That's the office number. Give us a call and we'll find your information and make sure you get your savings and earnings report. It'll look like this. Okay. Same colors and everything. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't let this show end and you didn't get your question asked or answered. All right. So I have several people here online watching us. Put a question in the chat. Put a question in the comment section, or if you're on Clubhouse here, put a question in the chat or come up and ask your question. Anybody else? All right. Anybody else? All right. So let me see what's going on here. We got a new person in. Now, if you want to see our examples, don't forget to go to YouTube. All right. I am checking the back office here, my room chat here. I am not seeing any questions over here. I'm looking looking in our chat section online. I'm not seeing any new questions there. Well, folks, listen, we started at 7 a.m. It's only 8:12 here in Huntsville. All right, Amari. All right, thank you, Amari. She's got a question. She didn't want the thing to end without any questions. So she says, how do you convince someone this is real? I have a friend that doesn't believe it. Well, what you could do, Amari, is don't try to explain it to them. First of all, here's who we talk to. The title of my book is The P.I.L.L Method, a better way to eliminate debt. A P.I.L.L method, a better way to eliminate debt. Okay? And I'm putting that on the screen. And the reason why we chose that subtitle, a better way to eliminate debt, everyone we've talked to over the years has told us the same thing. They were looking for a better way to pay off their debt. Everyone said that. I'm looking for a better way to pay off the debt. And that's why we put that there. We only talk to those people. The P.I.L.L method can help anybody who has debt, but it can't help everybody who has debt. It can help anybody who has debt, but it can't help everybody who has debt. What do I mean by that? Not everybody desires help. Some people are totally satisfied with what they're doing. And so if they're satisfied with what they're doing, Amari, we can't help them. They can't hear you. Okay? So here's what you do. Here's what you're up against. People know 3 ways to deal with their debt. 3 ways to deal with their debt, Amari. And that is refinancing. That is, you can refinance. You can round up your payments, put extra on every month. Or you can do a bi-weekly payment on your mortgage. Bi-weekly, round up your payments, or refinance. If it's not one of those 3, and you start talking about anything else, it scares people, and they won't want to listen. They'll argue you down. So when I talk to people, when we put information out there, we help people to understand it this way. Well, you can put a video on, okay? We can put a video on one of my videos from my YouTube channel, all right? Or you can talk about the fact that you saw a video where a couple paid off their mortgage in 6.5 years without changing their budget. And stop talking. Don't say anything else. When you talk to the right person who's been looking for a better way, they're going to ask you all kinds of questions. I've been looking for something like that. How do I get that? Or where did you get that information? You're going to pique their interest because they've already been searching. A person who's totally satisfied with what they're doing will hear that story about someone paying off their mortgage in 6.5 years. And they'll say, oh, well, that's an interesting story, or that's a nice story. Don't say another word to them because they weren't already looking for a better way. Amari, I hope that helps. Okay? I hope that helps. But at any rate, send people to my YouTube channel. If they have a remote interest, send them to the YouTube channel and then just let them watch a few videos. It will make sense after a while. It'll make sense after a while. And then maybe they'll end up calling. But if you are, Amari, go to ice10k.com, go to ice10k.com and sign up to become an affiliate. When you sign up to become an affiliate and you point people who have at least $100,000 in debt, and you point them to our YouTube channel and you follow up with them in 48 hours and they're still interested, do you know you can go back to my same ice10k.com card and fill out the referral card? You can fill out that referral for them and put your name in as the one who has referred them and your phone number. And when they become a client, we'll pay you. Yeah, we'll pay you. So you don't have to explain it. We will do all of the explanations for you. How about that? We will do the explanations for you. That's all. So listen, I've been dealing with this for 18 years, Amari, for 18 years. And you're just, you're just going through what we went through in the beginning. So that's the best I can tell you. All right. So become an affiliate, turn it over to us and we'll explain it. And people who watch our videos, they will eventually get it. So I hope that answers your question, Amari. Any other questions, people? Because we're coming up on the bottom of the hour. All right. We've been here an hour and 17 minutes, an hour and 17 minutes. And if I don't have any questions, then we're going to end the show early. We've allotted 2 hours, to you today. But if we don't use all 2 hours, that's okay. I answered the questions that needed to be answered today. Sometimes there are only a few questions. Sometimes there's a lot of questions. But I'm getting ready to say goodbye here if I don't see another question here. All right. But if you got any benefit out of today, if you got any benefit out of the show today, put a number 9 in the chat. Put a number 9 in the chat today. Go ahead and put a number 9 in. Put a number 9 in if you got any benefit out of the show today. Number 9 in the chat. There you go, Leon. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. All right. How about you guys online? Did you get anything out of it today? If you have another question, now's the time to get it in here before we say goodbye. Brother AJ got his. Brother AJ puts a number 9 in. Thank you, sir. Watching us on YouTube today. Anybody else? All right. Any other questions before we get out of here? Okay. ICE answers your questions. ICE answers your questions today. Go ahead. Go ahead, ladies and gentlemen. ICE answers your question. It says, Don, I called and I expect to hear back from the office today. Okay. Somebody, yeah. Once I get off, I'll give you, if you left your message, and if I don't have to get right into another meeting, I'll give you a call back. How about that? I'll call you. All right. Miss Rivera, Rivas, I'm sorry. Miss Rivas said number 9. Thank you so much. All right. Charged Up Services said 9. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm glad you got something else. Glad you got something out of today. All right. Here's your last chance. Here's your last chance. Going once, going twice to ask your question. Put it in the chat or come up to the stage and ask a question. All right. Well, here you see my book. You've got my book on the screen here, folks. Go to ice10k.com and order the book today. All right. It is the only book of its kind on Amazon out of 33 million titles. It is a #1 best-selling book that breaks down why we need to look at a new way of paying off debt. There's a better way to pay off debt by focusing on interest cost instead of interest rate, by using technology and superior education. That's how you get rid of debt today, by not paying all of that interest. That's what you find out in my book. And you can teach that to young people as well. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, but you can also get your savings and earnings report. Don't forget that. Don't forget to get your savings and earnings report today. So let me put that back on the screen. Get your savings and earnings report. All right. There it is. Nope, that's not what we want. We want this one. There it is. Get your savings and earnings report today, and you'll find out exactly the month, day, and year you could be debt free and how much interest you could save. Listen, you can't get better than that. All right. The average person is out of debt completely on all of their debt, even though the average family has 13 different debts. The average family is out of debt in about 7 years. This could be you. Fill out the information at ice10k.com, ice10k.com, ICE, the number 10, the letter K.com. And my staff will get that information from you. But don't forget, make sure when you put your cell phone number in, there are no spaces. Okay. We get that complaint a lot. All right. We got to put it in so that there's no spaces so that the program can read it. All right. There you go. and then someone will call you back and confirm your information and set up a consultation with you if you so choose. All right. So we've got that. And then the last thing is become an affiliate. Go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, and become an affiliate today. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting ready to get out of here. I want to thank you. Let me turn this camera off and let's bring, okay, we're going to bring this up. There we go. And take this out. There we are. All right. So there we go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being here today. And thank you for being with me. We have a reduced schedule this month. Sunday will be a replay. Next Wednesday will be a replay. I hope you enjoy it. We'll be back here next Friday to answer questions all over again next Friday. So this is as long as we keep getting questions, we'll keep doing Finance Fridays. ICE answers your questions. Okay. ICE answers your questions. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. And I want to say goodbye to everybody and tell us how you thought, what you thought about the show. Earl says, what are some of the best financial investments using the P.I.L.L method? Earl, we have a whole team that does that. All right. And that is, but I can tell you this, the best investments have to do with what works for you and your risk tolerance. There's risk tolerance. There's age that factors into it. There's a lot of things that factor into it. And so we have a whole team that does that for you if you're one of our clients. So Earl, I wish there was an easier answer for that, but you have to take a lot of things into account to figure out what's the right investment vehicle for an individual. Just throwing it out there willy-nilly and not knowing the age, not knowing the risk tolerance, not knowing, how you've invested in the past or how much you have invested now or what kind of tools you're already using. Yeah, we're going to stay away from that. That could get some people in trouble by throwing something out there like that. But give us a call and we'll let you talk to some of our financial experts who will do a complete interview, and then we'll be able to help you with some information like that. How's that, Earl? Mr. Earl, Mr. Leon Earl. All right. Thank you all for being here. You are so welcome, sir. You are so welcome. All right. I'm looking one last time for any questions or any comments. Well, listen, we're going to get out of here. But before we go, we want to hear from Dr. Eric Thomas one time. And because he's the #1 motivational speaker in the world, we had him come and speak at our conference last year. And he mentioned in the conference that he actually used the P.I.L.L method to pay off his mortgage, and his wife was relieved of so much stress when he did that. Okay. So what we're going to do now is our last word is going to be from Dr. Eric Thomas before we say goodbye. So folks, remember, we're going to be back here next Friday, but on this coming Sunday and Wednesday, we're going to have replays because June is our month to be on vacation. So we have a reduced schedule. All right. So we will see you. We'll see you next week live, but be here on Sunday and watch us on Facebook, on YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You can watch us there. So if you're on Clubhouse, we're not going to be on Clubhouse, but you can watch a replay on your favorite social media outlet. Okay, everybody, see you next time. Here's a word from Dr. Eric Thomas.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.